Welcome to this very special edition of the KAJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through their industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And before I move forward, today is a very special day for us in India. आप जितने हमारे कंट्रीमैन हैं, जो हमारे देशवासी हैं, सबको गणतंत्र दिवस की शुभकामनाएं. A very happy Republic Day to each one of you in my country here in India and outside, those people who are residing outside, who are part of India. And for people outside India, just to let you know, today is our Republic Day here in India, 26th January 1950. We adopted our own constitution. We became an independent republic. And that is where our constitution came into being. Now, getting back to the show, today we have Toccara Karizma. She will be talking to her. She's a digital marketing consultant and online business growth strategist. Welcome to the show, Toccara.
Thank you, AJ. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
You are welcome to the show, Toccara. You are welcome to India in this online form. And I'm sure not just in India, but a lot of people across the globe will benefit from what we are going to talk about. We'll talk about digital marketing and online business growth. You run a successful company, Karizma Marketing, full service digital marketing agency. So we'll be talking about what you do. So my first question is to understand from you, Toccara, about your success. You are quite successful in the field of digital marketing and online business growth. What has been the reason for your success? To be there at the right time, or does it take some special skills to be successful in the line that you are in?
Yeah, I think you just nailed it with your question. I think in a lot of my life, I might have been at the right place at the right time just before everything hit. So I've actually been in the e-commerce and digital marketing space since 2007. So that would make it 16, 17 years now that I've been doing this. So I learned about dropshipping didn't even exist when I first started. Facebook had 20 million users, not 3 billion, things are very different. Shopify didn't exist. Zencart was what WooCommerce is now for WordPress. So the world looked a lot different, but I learned that it was so powerful to make money while I slept through that e-commerce business. And so I really fell in love with selling online, making sales on automation, and my background's business economics. So I was in the right place at the right time. I had a passion for it, but most importantly, I dove deep dove into the analytics and learning. And it wasn't just that I took 1 or 2 courses. I went all in, and I have a very analytical, data-driven brain. So for me to be able to grassroots and grow a business, which I've done for many businesses into the multi-millions, I'm able to just dissect it and look at it, and maybe that's just the way my brain works. And then on top of that, just deep diving into how all of these different various platforms and ways of digital marketing like SEO and email marketing and Facebook ads and website CRO and all these things that are really important. I like to take a holistic approach and pull them all together. And it takes years of experience. I say, we don't go on to a 747 jet and say we want to fly it, right? And so it takes a lot of time to get to the level where I'm at now.
Absolutely, Toccara. But the fact, Toccara, the fact of the life is, that you can be at the right place at the right time. But if you are not time ready, it will just pass you by. So how you have to be, ready for that particular time. So in today's time, in 2024, a lot of businesses, and especially small businesses, large businesses, they have all this capacity of online marketing, digital marketing, all the tricks and tools with them. How is it that they can still be, ready for 2024? Is it something else that they need to be prepared for? Are there special skills that need to be learned at this stage? Are there special trends that one should notice? And are there special platforms that one should take care of? Help us understand about the situation right now. It is very fluid, very dynamic, and especially for small businesses with limited resources, it is very difficult to make a sense of it all. For example, just yesterday I read that Be Real is now back into the picture with some more businesses, some business branding and all that stuff. That is, I'm yet to read more on that. So I want to understand, get the full understanding for the for especially for small businesses. How should they take this big leap into 2024?
I mean, I love that question. And I always say it's never been easier to grow a successful business. Never have we had as many free resources, trainings, platforms, AI. I mean, there's so much working in our favor. So that's the good news. And I'm such a true believer of grassrooting, meaning we turn down probably 50% of people who come to our agency asking for our help, because we believe that the owner can actually do a lot of it on their own when they're in that small business space. It's so powerful to learn about these tools on your own and get to know them a little bit. It doesn't mean you need to be an expert, but you can do email marketing very affordably on your own. The return is 42x, right? For every dollar you put into email marketing, businesses average $42 back. That's like if I went in and bought a $100,000 house today, I turn it around tomorrow and I sell it for 4.2 million. Like, that's how massive of a return it is. And it costs very little. The same is true for SEO. SEO is another huge field that I am very passionate about, especially when it comes to e-commerce, where it's just learning strategy. We can do this for free. I understand as small business owners, we're stretched in every area. We're overworked. We're wearing so many different hats in our business, but it doesn't mean it has to cost a lot of money to make money. We can do this on a shoestring budget. What I would suggest is, and what I always say, the three biggest areas in which you can grow your business affordably, and they may not be the sexiest things. Everyone wants to talk about, TikTok or Facebook ads or Instagram or influencer marketing, right? Because those things are really trendy and cool. But honestly, you're going to get your biggest return on email marketing, on SEO, and on what we call website CRO, website conversion rate optimization, making sure that your website is set up to convert. If you learn those three skill sets, you can be dangerous in your business, regardless of whether it's even a brick and mortar business or whether it is an online business. And so I think in 2024, we're going to see a lot of different trends. I think, TikTok obviously is huge in the world and everyone's talking about it. And there's TikTok Shop, right? Amazon continues to grow. And of course, different countries have different platforms that are very similar. But these three things have never gone away. No matter what trend, you can always rely on. And when I say email marketing, it also extends to SMS. So SMS is a big part of that too, meaning like texting marketing, which tends to go hand in hand with email marketing platforms. So email and SMS, SEO, website CRO, like tried and true, they're classic. They will take you through 2024 and beyond.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You talked about, that about making money while you sleep. You sleep, your work makes you money. But is it that easy? A lot of times nowadays, people think that, online, you just need to do a few things and that will make money for you. And a lot of people are doing it and the competition has increased. Help us understand this in terms of business. If I open a website, you talked about, doing special things in terms of email, even website, and SEO. So is it that easy? What are the things that especially a small business can do? Many people are, very frustrated with that. Email is, their website is not giving them enough business. And that is where they look at much more different tools, advertisements, and all that. I want to understand, you talk about special tips to increase one's website conversion rate. Help us some of those so that, it actually makes money when one sleeps.
Yes, I think that's a great question. And I always like to say, anyone who tells you it's easy is lying or trying to sell you something. Okay. Like, I'm huge into integrity. It's probably the most important value system that I have in my personal life and both my business. And I do think that I work in an industry of snake oil and smoke and mirrors, and people are promised that it's very easy, but the reality is it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of education, expertise, and skill set. So I don't want to undermine that it takes time, but if you're willing to put in the time, mostly in educating yourself and learning how to do this, you absolutely can. And the cool thing about email marketing, SEO, and website CRO that we just talked about, it's like an interlink. They all link to each other. So imagine this. Let's say you have a website about pearl jewelry, right? And you're working all on your SEO for pearl jewelry so people can organically find you when they're typing in a Tahitian pearl necklace on Google, right? Then they get to your website, they found you organically. You didn't have to pay for that click. You didn't have to pay for the ad. Then you have a pop-up from your email CRM. We are a Klaviyo Gold Master partner. If ever you need Klaviyo help, but that's the email CRM that we love and we use all the time. So then you have a pop-up from your email CRM that's asking for them to opt in by exchanging value. That's now how we're growing our email list. And let's say then from there, they find that perfect Tahitian pearl necklace because you had your SEO tuned in on that product page and it's exactly what they want. And everything on that product page is set up to convert. You have really well done images, you have reviews, you have your SEO, your H1 tags, your H2 tags, your FAQs, your return and shipping policy, your add to cart button changes when someone hovers over it. Your pictures are on the left, your add to cart is on the right. Like, everything is just perfect. It looks perfect no matter what screen it is on because it's a responsive website. So then they can easily add to cart, right? And then let's say they even abandon their cart because you have your email sequences in. This is why I mean we can make money while we sleep. They're getting an email automatically that says, hey, are you still interested in this? We noticed you left it in your cart, and so on and so forth. And this is how these three things start just mounting on top of each other and start making you a lot of money. And you can literally open and close your doors by just pushing the levers on these three things. SEO, especially email marketing, you can open and close your doors and make money literally while you sleep doing that. And then the more you improve the way in which your website converts through these little strategies, the more income you make. Even a 0.5% increase in website conversion rate for certain companies with a lot of traffic can be like millions in revenue difference every year. It's a huge difference. So that's why these three things are so important, and they will allow you absolutely to make money while you sleep, but you got to take the time and you got to learn how to do it.
Absolutely, Toccara. Now let's look at this in terms of email marketing. New rules are coming in. Google is changing, and it wants you to follow certain ethical stuff. I am yet to understand that fully. You would know it better. How should I look at my email list then? Because as a business, as a freelancer, also I've been adding to my list, and now suddenly Google wants to look at it and that I am not breaking any rules. It's coming with new set of rules. How should we look at this? How will that reduce my email list? And how do I build it then? Because then I'll be fully dependent on the other side. Though as a customer, as a consumer, I am happy that I will not have to face spam, but I want to understand it better from a business point of view. How should we look at this part? New changes that are just about to begin in some time.
Yes. And you know what? They're always changing things. Digital marketing is moving so fast. We had iOS 14, then we had iOS 15, which affected emails, right? iOS 14 affected privacy on like certain platforms like Facebook, right? So there's constant privacy concerns. However, that being said, as long as you're maintaining best practices, things like don't purchase an email list. Like, that's probably one of the biggest things. Just don't do it. Have people opt in. Have people opt in for something that's paid or when they come to your site, meaning doing things like our old techniques of giveaways aren't going to work these days because it's honestly going to just hurt your list. Like, you want high quality leads. It's worth it to spend more to get a high quality, quote unquote, lead. I mean, a subscriber, on your list that actually wants to engage with you, right? And then you look at certain things. So number one is obviously you need all of the unsubscribe information, your contact information on the bottom of your emails. You need to make sure that you have like a cookie going off. Actually, you can't even see your accurate open rates anymore because of iOS 15. So people maybe in the last year or two see inflated open rates. Those aren't accurate. So there's certain settings you can put there. You want to make sure your unsubscribe rate is less than 1%. I guess this is very different depending on how big your email list size is. Your spam rate should be less than 0.5%. If you're seeing those go up, what we tend to do is segment. So the bigger the client, the more quote unquote segments they have, where we start putting our subscribers into different kind of engaged little buckets. And so those who are unlikely to engage with us, we don't send them as many emails so that our email reputation can stay very, very strong. Another strategy is to send in your emails from a totally different domain so that you don't put your own domain at risk and it gets blacklisted by Gmail, tends to be the biggest one, and then Yahoo for most businesses. Those are their biggest subscribers. They're the ones that are the most strict, Gmail and Yahoo. So those ones you even can isolate further and be really good about nurturing those lists and making sure that everything is segmented, which is also why we really love Klaviyo, because we can really track user behavior and email them accordingly so that we have really healthy domain ratings for our email list and things end up in the Gmail folder in the inbox versus the spam box. If your emails start going to the spam box, that's a problem. That's why you don't want to blast your whole email list. So there's so many techniques to do, but the biggest thing is make sure your emails are engaging. You don't always have to sell. Sometimes we notice our biggest sales emails are ones that are value added, blogs, how to pose in a bikini, for example, for a bikini client, adding tons of value, gift guides, things that people are going to click. Give people a reason to click or respond. That'll also help you continue to get into the inbox.
Right. Thanks for that, Toccara. Now, in terms of platforms, let's look at 2-3 aspects here. One is the social media platform. It's very important when you are selling online. How should I look at social media platforms? A lot of people say there is a certain degree of slowdown in terms of certain platforms. People do not look at Facebook, even in terms of the sense of trust. Facebook, Instagram, other platforms also, they are having second thoughts about how much they should go. Twitter, for example, also. Now, how should we look at platforms? Should we look at only these platforms, or should we look at other platforms which have been underutilized that we don't generally are not know of? Tell us about that. Second thing is e-commerce platforms. Now, on one side, people have been telling that focus on your website because this is your best property. It will stay with you. Your email list will stay with you. Perfect. How do I look at e-commerce platforms? Amazon, it has its own, people have their own questions in terms of dealing with Amazon. Etsy has its own problems, for people who are looking at that. So how should we still be there? Should we be not there? Or we be there and make the best of it? People talk of Shopify, but then it's a bit different than these platforms. It's not going to get customers the same way these e-commerce platforms will provide you. How do I look at this whole landscape as a small business and make the best use of, especially in terms of websites, in terms of e-commerce platforms, in terms of social media? Help us understand this.
Great question. I think it's on a lot of people's minds. Where do I put my energy, right? What makes sense? I'm already spread so thin. I always say, any investor will tell you to diversify your portfolio, right? So if we put all of our eggs in, let's say, the Facebook basket, let's say we just built our business on Facebook. We had clients in the past who did that. That puts us at huge risk of losing our business should Facebook be the next MySpace. Or let's say we have an Amazon only business. Well, with Amazon's increasing rates, right, to sell through them, that puts us at risk. So we always want to look at a diversification strategy. And the same is true with social media platforms. So for example, a while ago we had, this is like years ago, we had someone who sold sod, like grass, right? And he was a small business owner and he was really curious about Pinterest. But the problem was that 70 to 80% of his buyers were men, and 70 to 80% of the users on a social platform like Pinterest, which is a great search engine, are women. It was a mismatch. It didn't make sense. So the first question I always ask business owners is, where does someone go organically to find you? That's the number one question. So if you are a contractor, let's say you install garage doors, well, very likely someone's looking on Google, right? They're going to search like garage installers. They're not going to find you on Facebook. They're not going to find you on Instagram. So good news, you don't have to spend as much time on those platforms. That's probably going to be a waste of your time. Let's say you are selling, like I sell my marketing services. Well, for me, something like being on LinkedIn, where there are people who own businesses, there's professionals on there, running ads on there, having a presence on there, makes a lot of sense for my business and where my clientele are hanging out. So the biggest question is, where are your clients hanging out? And there's still so much in these newer platforms like TikTok. TikTok for me was very easy to grow my following. I'm Toccara Karizma everywhere, and Charisma spelled that really funny way that you see under my name with Charisma Marketing. But it's if you see these new platforms and they're starting to get momentum, why not just save your name on there, work on it? But I can tell you that just in the last few months, every month I've spent over $100,000 on Facebook ads and made 8x return, 9x return for clients. So Facebook ads are not dead. It's just if you're stuck in the way of doing them that you've always been done and you're not willing to test. It took us probably 3, 4, 5 months to go from 3x to 4x to 5x. We're actually at 9x now for these Facebook ads, and they're like 150 grand a month. It's just insane. So these things work, but the formula has to come together really well. It won't work for every client. This is a very specific business model that it works for. So when it comes to making these decisions, think about, okay, what makes the most sense? Where are my potential customers hanging out? Isolate your efforts to that. You don't need to be spread so thin. Just go in there, go like all in. And same with your platforms. We love for e-commerce. We just love Shopify. So the biggest thing is pick a platform there's a lot of people on. That's it, because they're going to have developers who know it very well. They're going to have themes. They're going to have apps. And so Shopify just happens to be a really good platform. There's also WooCommerce with WordPress, which is very customizable. So if you have a bigger business or you have a more customized vision, that one can really work well for you. But I like to push people towards platforms where everyone's using them, because you're going to get a lot of support that way. You're going to find a lot of solutions to problems you may face because everyone's using it. So developers are on there, apps are on there. It has plugins and API integrations with all the big marketplaces, all the big social media platforms. So that's usually my advice.
Absolutely, Toccara. Now, as we go by, especially in the next few months, do you think, that now for businesses, for freelancers, for individuals who are creating businesses for themselves, it will have to be more about authenticity, about much more ethical sort of ways that they are doing things? Earlier, people could come, spam, or do any sort of things, but now new rules are coming in. For example, LinkedIn. Recently, it cleared a lot of, followers which were not active on one's profile. So that is one step I want to bring for you. So is that that shows that there is something happening. People know that people want to deal with people who are much more engaged with you. Now the email rules coming in, the cookies thing coming in. So how should business look at that? Should they just look at, we got to be ethical, we got to be authentic, and deal with the people who actually want to deal with us, and not just on the face sort of a thing which may not be liked by them? Also, in terms of attention span, you see, yesterday I read about even TikTok. There's this talk of TikTok even moving towards longer form content, half an hour. Earlier it was 15 minutes, now they are looking. So there is that whole talk going on. How do you look at this terms of businesses looking at creating content even for social media? I want to understand this for the audience.
Yeah. Well, AJ, last time I checked, my followers aren't paying my bills, right? It doesn't matter how many followers you have, don't equate to how much money you're making. That is definitely short. And in fact, we've done a lot of work for big influencers with like 500,000+ followers. they couldn't sell anything. Shocking, right? And then you with a, 2,000 person following on Instagram are making way more money than them every month. So first get the vanity, just let it go. It's just so silly. It's so silly. And at the end of the day, I love that consumers are sick of being taken advantage of. And they're it's kind of like this anti-big corporation movement a little bit in the last few years, where consumers are really into supporting small business. They want to know the ingredients that are in their products. They care about the environment. Like there's a lot of social movement towards that direction, where a consumer would rather pay double for a bar of soap that they got from their local farmer's market that was handmade by a mom with all these ingredients from her farm, versus going out and buying the really cheap soap from the big corporation in the big box store. Like this is really happening. This is truly happening. So pricing is never an issue. I always say that pricing is never an issue. So I think in business, just like in anything else, like your value system needs to align with your consumer base. So if you're getting those emails dropped, if you're getting those followers dropped, great. That means that we got to show up more authentically and to who we are for our people. Our people will follow us and will resonate with our messages. And it's so important. Like for me, integrity is the biggest thing. It's funny because I was just talking about this to my team today. It's so important. People can smell that stuff, from a million miles away. And so if you're just genuinely who you are, you don't have to worry about the followers or the email list subscribers falling off. And with your content itself, it doesn't have to be fancy. In fact, a lot of social media does better raw, like just like you and me right now, raw. As soon as I put something that's too commercial, I'll have clients that spend thousands of dollars on commercial content. It looks beautiful. It will never convert on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, right? So how beautiful is that for us? Like we don't need to pay a lot of money for a video editor or expensive camera equipment. It's never been easier. It's so cool. And people just want to connect these days. We're also coming out of COVID over the last few years, where we were so isolated. Like people just want to see people. They want to hear their stories. So I think showing up as your authentic self, speaking your truth, standing in what you believe in, don't worry about your followers. That all is going to work in your favor.
Absolutely. Now let's come to your company, Karizma Marketing, full service digital marketing agency. Tell us a bit more about your company, what you do, how you do, so that people who want to learn from you and engage with you professionally, they can know, okay, this is the place I can go to.
That's very sweet. Thank you so much for asking. So I was blessed with the name Toccara Karizma. Like that's my real name. So how could I not name the agency Karizma Marketing, right? So our agency is set up to support 7-figure plus e-commerce businesses in a broad range of digital marketing services. So SEO, email marketing, paid ads, website development, and website CRO, consulting, branding, and more. So we really do anything and everything an e-commerce business that's operating at a really high level needs in order to get rapid growth. And we've never not experienced that with any client we've worked with. Every single time it's like whoosh, like a hockey stick. So the cool thing is if you're not there, and there's a lot of businesses that aren't, I have tons of free resources. So you can look for me anywhere. It's Toccara Karizma everywhere because, like I said, blessed with a very unique name. And so you can go to TikTok or Instagram or Facebook. And in those, I have many links and on my websites for lots of free resources and a blog. And so I'm hopeful that that will help people who are just starting out, because it's my mission to kind of be able to donate my time and help small business owners so that they can kind of grasp these concepts, because it's hard and it can be overwhelming, and we can be an expert at what we do, the craft that we do, but it doesn't mean that we're an expert at marketing or growing a business. So for me to be able to provide some of those free resources is wonderful. And then of course, if there's any 7-figure plus e-commerce business, feel free to get in touch, and we're always happy to provide a complimentary audit of your business.
Wonderful. With this, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KAJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Thank you.